Hello, everyone's Forest Focus as Nottingham Forest suffer an 11th 3-2 defeat since returning to the Premier League, this time to Newcastle United. We'll discuss a huge missed opportunity, terrible defending and a big penalty call in the company of, first of all, Ruby Naylor. Ruby, how are you?
I'm all right. Disappointed, obviously, like everybody else, but hanging in there.
Yes. Well, thanks for joining us from America. Completing a stateside panel today is Ryan Brandell, as his mum likes him to be known, also known as Barstool Chief. Chief, how are you doing?
Well, not great considering the result, but I'm thrilled to be here. I think we've talked about. I'm a big fan of the show, so I think this is my second appearance. So I'm very happy to be here. I just wish it was under better terms.
Well, it's great to have you back again. I mean, you kick us off, Chief. Is it frustration that we fought back and couldn't take advantage? Is it frustration that we should keep losing 3-2? What's the most annoying thing about that game?
It's just. It doesn't seem like there's any corrections to any of the mistakes or the Achilles heel of this team. It's always set pieces, and it's always one or two defensive breakdowns. And it's, we change the coaching staff, you bring in the set piece coach, you do this, you do that. And I know Newcastle, they look at least a head taller, man for man, than Forest did out there. But it's just to be beat. Losing is one thing. Losing the same way seemingly every week, that's where the frustration really settles in for me.
What about you, Ruby?
Yeah, same sort of idea. It's just the same thing over and over again. Marking as well, whether it's man marking or zonal marking, it's an issue. It's not like either one is specifically the worst. It's just we can't defend set pieces. I mean, can't check shoulders, which is one of the first things you learn as a defender is look behind you. And again, same thing over and over again. Just like Ryan said, frustration just continues to build.
The 3-2 thing, is that a mentality thing, do you think, or just a lack of quality in the players, Chief?
At some point, yeah, the players have to take accountability, but this does seem like what's going on in training during the week where it's just it's set pieces basically every single time that's their undoing, and it seems like relatively simple. You should be able to, catch some of these guys on these set pieces, but they just can't seem to do it. So I don't know if it's coaching or the quality of the players. I like our players. I think, it's like if you can iron out the set piece issue, let's give up 1 goal a game on set pieces. Just cut it in half by 50%, and this team's in the top half. We're going to Europe. It's starting to sound like Greg. But if that were the case, they would be fine. But I like our attackers, and it's like I like the players individually. I like Murillo, I like Nakate, but it's just the collective, the 10 men out there defending just aren't getting the job done. I did like the goalie today, though, for the 11th man.
Yeah, true. Matt Kane asked how many 3-2s. I think it's 6 this season, 5 last season.
Yep.
Yeah, and we have, on the losing side every single time. Obviously, we can't come out on the right side of any of them. Going through the goals then, Ruby, the first goal for Newcastle, I assume it's something that they've seen in us to do that because that's a real training ground thing. How much of that's on us and how much of that for you is fair play to Newcastle?
Yeah, I'll start by saying brilliant goal. I mean, obviously well thought out. I wish we could poach their set piece coach on the reverse side in terms of attacking. But he was at the top of the arc. I remember watching him and being like, he's going to run. And then he did. And nobody watched him. As I said before, Tavares didn't check his shoulder. I would definitely have to say fabulous goal, but we are equally at fault. I mean, it's rudimentary, again, as I began with. It's not like it's really complicated footwork or anything like that. Like, it was a solid goal, a solid finish. But it's as simple as check your shoulder. It's frustrating.
And we fought back really well. Well, we'd had chances early in the game, hadn't we, Chief? Like Gibbs-White had a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Elanga had that one-on-one where I thought the keeper did well. And then we get the goal. What was your take on the goal from Elanga and the whole Dan Burn thing as well in the first half?
Well, you called that earlier in the week when the lineup came out this morning. I was like, all right, we're feeling pretty good. We'll at least have something on the counterattack. And that pace is it's unbelievable to watch, and cutting from the outside to the inside on that one from Taiwo. It was brilliant. It was beautiful to see. Wish he would have finished the other one in the first half too, where he beat him wide. I love that little video of him training the foot speed thing. It's like the guy puts in the work and he 32 taps in 7 seconds or whatever it is, and it's one of those things that's great for Instagram, but it translates with him on the field as well, because that pace is it's electric. So love the first goal. I'm fine with counterattacking forever because the Forest have the athletes, and especially when Taiwo with his physicality and the speed up front from him. they're a fun team to watch in transition. I just like I said, they got to clean things up defensively. Otherwise, it's starting to have the dark thoughts come in here.
Yeah, I was really happy with 30% possession, because if we'd had 60% possession or 70, we wouldn't have been able to hit them on the break. So, yeah, I've got no problem with that. And counter-attacking football is really exciting. I mean, our wingers were one of the positives come out of the game, Ruby, I guess. Hudson-Odoi got the second goal, and he looks more confident now. That's 2 in 2 Premier League games for him as well.
Yeah, and 2 pretty good goals as well. Obviously, this one had a deflection, but same idea where he cuts in or runs in from the outside. So it's just good to see his confidence, and he's finally taking on players. Like I thought that he was previous to the last couple of games, just turning and passing back too often. But he's finally like getting that confidence, as you said, going at the defender. And yeah, I thought he had a good game. Malanga as well. Obviously, his pace is massive. That I would say is one of, if not the biggest part of his game. And as Ryan said, taking on Dan Burn, I was excited to see him because Livramento can play left back and he's quite quick. So I was kind of wondering if maybe he would be in there. But yeah, Dan Burn, the second I saw that, I was like, something's going to come from Malanga.
I mean, I know we've got a lot of problems, Chief, but does that front four still give you optimism for the games to come, that we can create and score enough goals if we can address our problems at the other end of the pitch?
Yeah, I think they've shown it. I mean, 2 goals at I think they're over 2 goals a game since Nuno came in, and they do have the pace, the quality. If they have both those wingers going like they had today, I think that front four is great. I don't know exactly. Obviously, it's a weird situation at the end of the game. I don't know exactly how Reyna fits in with that group, or if he's just a like for like sub at the end, because it did feel when Taiwo went off and Reyna came on later, just felt a little disjointed. With Morgan kind of playing a little deeper, but yeah, I think up front they have everything you need to stay up. Certainly, it's going to come down to the back end. And today, it's easy to kind of point fingers at Turner, week in, week out. I can't say any of that was on the goalkeeper today. It was really just a collective defense.
Yeah, I think so. I thought, like, I don't know, Origi to me isn't on the same level as Awoniyi. Like, we lost a lot of threat when Awoniyi went off. I'm not sure what he offered really, and. Yeah, what's your take on Reyna in the game then, Ruby? It was a bit in and out. He's got some neat touches, but does he need probably a run of games to work out where he fits into this side then?
Yeah, as you said, good touches, but I don't think he actually made a difference. Like, I didn't see anything specific from him where I was like, that really adds. Like, that is something that we didn't have, like, from Dominguez or Danilo when he comes on. I'm not seeing anything special from him, which is... Again, as you said, he needs a run of games. He needs more time. This was his first Premier League home game for us. So definitely time. But as of right now, I'm not seeing anything where I'm like, this is why they brought him in specifically. I haven't seen he's just kind of floated around in there the past couple of games. Even last game when he was playing on the wing, he was still like in a weird 10 position. I was like, that's unique. So yeah, I think he definitely needs time. I mean, he's a good player empirically. He's only 21. So yeah, definitely time, definitely a run of games. And hopefully he finds his form and finds his actual place in our team.
Yeah, he looks desperate to play 10, doesn't he? I don't think he wants to play anywhere else, really.
He doesn't really play that for the national team, though, either. Like, he's usually off to the wing or coming on as a sub as a wing as well. So I don't know. I didn't really. I'm excited about it, but I didn't really. I don't know. I'm interested to see where they play him consistently.
Where do you think the game was going at half time, Chief? Were you confident we'd go on and win it, or did you think it could still be anything come the end of the match?
I mean, I have white knuckles watching every single Forest game, so I can't say I'm exactly confident. But yeah, I thought that with that goal they'd have some momentum and we had a formula to get them on the counterattack. And it does feel like the team is so much different with and without Taiwo. So he gives them that outlet, that physicality. He does have the pace. So bringing on Origi for him, it felt like they lost quite a bit. So I don't know if he's just not fit enough to go. He can only go an hour, because it feels like seems to be the case.
Yeah, I think so. I think that if they risk him anymore and he goes off injured, like, I don't know. I don't think you could last I don't think we'd have too much of a threat if Origi was playing 90 week in, week out, certainly for me. Into the second half, Ruby, then. I mean, we started really well, didn't we? I thought like Nuno looked like he'd sent them out to play with a bit of intensity, get at Newcastle and rattle them. But we just couldn't go on and get that third goal, I guess, could we?
I mean, technically we did. It was offside, but there was a ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
But yeah, they definitely came out like a fire had been lit under them. Like they got yelled at halftime. But I guess it just wasn't. It's just difficult because, like you said, they had the formula. They knew they had to catch them with 3 at the back. We saw that in the last game, and then we saw it this game as well. Our goals came from that. So they knew what they were doing. It's just there's something missing, and it doesn't feel like it's the passion because I feel like I see it in a lot of players. They do want to win, and even I thought Reina came on and showed that he wants to do well, because obviously the club history is important. But there's just something missing, and I guess it's the Awoniyi thing coming off was kind of frustrating. But again, it's probably he's not fit enough, and if we do lose him and Wood, I don't think we're staying up. So you've got to preserve him. But at the same time, if we don't win games like this, or at least get a point from games like this, we're going to go down anyway. So it's a rock and a hard place right now.
Well, I've written in my notes. I mean, this is when we were 3-2 down, actually, but it's 2 off the cuff. Is that fair, Chief? Like, it doesn't seem like there's massive patterns of play to work the ball into good areas. And then when we do, we've only got like Hudson-Odoi put a really good ball in, and we only have one man in the box, and we're chasing the game. It just feels like it's a bit. We still feels like we're a bit winging it because our team's had so much turnover. Is that fair? Do you think?
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's the turnover. It's the AFCON. They made a big show during the game of all the injuries that Newcastle has had. I don't know if you guys have the same broadcast or the simulcast or not, but Forest, I feel we have not seen their best 11 from Forest due to injury or tournament the whole year. So I, like you were asking me for, I really like the front four. If Taiwo can ever give you 90 minutes, I think that group can really get it done. And like we said, keep 35-40% of possession every week. And I think they'll be okay, but it's these injuries are a real problem going forward.
What about the change at the back? Was Omobamidele unlucky to lose his place, do you think, then? Chief. I'll throw it to both of you, sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ruby.
Yeah, I would say he's unlucky, but I'm not going to complain about our personal Roy Delap being back. I mean, I definitely think he adds to our side. But again, I don't know. I think I will say Callum Wilson was kept quiet, which is important as well because he is a strong number 9. So I would say unfortunate, but he's young. He's going to get his chance. I mean, we kind of have to go with our strongest back two, especially against a team like this. So despite the fact that he's playing well, I honestly think it was the right decision at the end of the day.
Where does Boley fit in when he comes back, do you think? Is he go back into the 11 or is he off the bench?
I think he's off the bench. I don't know. I mean, my gripe with Niakate is I agree with Ruby, the long throw is a real weapon. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have much authority in the air, and nor does Murillo really. So I thought Omobamidele was a bit unlucky. But I do like Boley, especially in games where they are going to load it in the box and they carry a set piece threat. Well, it's every game against us, I would say, yeah. I mean, so if, we did handle Wilson well, as Ruby says, Chief, is the problem in midfield then? The balance of Dominguez and Yates isn't quite right in a home game or not?
Yeah, I think there's some of that. I think Yates has become like almost an automatic selection. And, I like Dominguez. You can kind of feels like they can put him wherever the leak is, where if it's in the middle, we'll put him there. You have injuries out wide on the wing, put him there. And he always does fine. I don't feel as confident with him out there as I did with Mangala. Picking the ball up, and then on their third goal too, where it looks like a basketball play where they set a pick on him, he goes flying and walk in for a goal. So it's like, if that doesn't happen, does he contest that enough to keep the game level and everybody's in a better mood on this podcast?
Yes. Okay. So I thought VAR should have looked at that third goal because Yates gets blocked by Dan Burn, and nothing was said in our commentary. I had the Sky Sports commentary. I guess you get the international feed, but yeah. I thought that was a definite foul. But I guess Ruby as well, like Anthony Elanga, it's criminal. You can't give the ball away on the edge of your box like that, can you, as well?
No, definitely not. So again, same back to the first goal. It was a decent goal. That we're talking about the third one, the Almiron one, right? Mm-hmm. I honestly did think Sells could have done better. That might be a little controversial. I know he got a hand to it. And I thought maybe Niakate could have closed down a little bit quicker. I know he's not super fast. It was a decent goal, but yeah, it began with Anthony Elanga. Sometimes I know we're not like a kick and run team. That's very championship, isn't it? But sometimes you got to just get rid of it, especially when you're tied 2-2 and you need a point desperately. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it. It's, again, simple stuff that we keep just messing up.
Well, I guess, Chief, the second goal we haven't really touched on is the worst of the bunch. I mean, a free kick pumped in from halfway. We did it against Everton last season. Like, you can't concede a goal from there, can you?
No, I mean, and that's the thing, is these little moments where it just feels like a lack of discipline, a lack of concentration that ends up costing the team points, and who knows what it costs them in the end, because it's like you're in a relegation fight even without the deduction looming. So I don't know. Like I said, the dark thoughts are really creeping in after today. It feels like we're heading the wrong way here.
I'll come back to dark thoughts at the end. Don't worry.
Okay.
Keep them with you for another 10 or 15
I'm trying
minutes.
to get them out. I'm trying to get them out.
Well, hopefully we can exercise them at the end of this. I'm playing devil's advocate here. Is it a silly free kick to give away on the halfway line, Ruby, to let them pump it in our box? Or do you kind of try and take the risk and win the ball there and force a turnover and assume you'll be good enough to deal with it when it's pumped back in towards you?
Yeah, I would say, it was a silly free kick, but it shouldn't have led to a goal, especially a goal by a centre half. Like, sure, it was fine, but I was like, really? And it was a decent goal. I think it was a half volley, wasn't it? If I remember.
Yeah.
But it's just, silly giveaway on a free kick, but then just deal with it. It's just over and over again. Like we talked at the very beginning, if you do give it away, Sells needs to be, he might not be like telling them to mark more clearly because he's the only one that can see who's open and stuff like that. And it's the same thing twice where two players run marked. They're diagonalish runs, which Newcastle is known for as well. They're known to make diagonal runs into the box. So it's stuff that the defenders know going into the match to look out for. The goalkeeper knows, like, make sure you're watching these runs, but yet it still happens. So yeah, silly free kick to give away, but shouldn't have led to a goal, even if they did give the free kick away. It's just both instances shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, he's a good technical footballer, Cher, but he can't. You've got three of their back four cannot run, and Trippier's not quick either. I think that's they're the least mobile defensive unit. Yeah, but it's amazing how they kept so many clean sheets last season. I guess it's because they had Guimaraes and Joe Linton in better form. I don't know. Not a Newcastle podcast, I guess. We'll come on to the big talking point of the second half shortly. Quick word for our sponsors, as ever, the Trent Navigation. I shall put up an advert for, people will probably want a beer, won't they? Monday nights, go down and have a beer to drown your sorrows. Or tomorrow, Sunday roast, if you fancy something better than that. Do you get good Sunday roast in the States, Chief?
I don't think I know what a Sunday roast is.
What?
Have you had a Yorkshire pudding before?
No, I can't say that.
Oh, no.
I've even heard of
Oh, my
that.
God, that's the biggest revelation of this podcast.
Well, I'm coming over in April. So you'll have to, I'll go down to the Nav and see what I can find.
Yes. Okay. We'll make sure you get a prime Sunday roast. There you go. Locally sourced meat, I should say that as well. Okay, so let's talk about the big incident of the second half. There's always got to be a refereeing incident. Taiwo Awoniyi goes down in the box under challenge from first, I think it's Botman, and then Dubravka. Penalty or no penalty, Ruby?
Yes, I think so. I think if Dubravka's arm stays straight and Awoniyi trips over it, it's not, but he raised his arm. Whether it was slow motion or regular motion, you could see his arm go up. And he's reaching for the ball, sure, but he doesn't get it. And our commentator was Peter Drury, and he said something like, oh, the ball was rolling out. But it wasn't. I do think Awoniyi was going to get there, and whether it would have been a goal or not, it was a terrible angle. It's a different story. The ball wasn't going to go out. He was going to get there, and he was tripped in the box. So yes, it was a penalty for me. And I do think it's one of the things, Matt, we talked about this, that if it's not given in real time, it's probably not going to be given by VAR. But it comes down to subjectivity again. It's like, there's no consistency. It's whatever the ref thinks, and it depends on the ref. Like somebody else probably would have given that, but Anthony Taylor is Anthony Taylor. Like, he just is exactly the same every single game. But yeah, overall for me, it was a penalty. He was tripped in the box.
He had a terrible game, I thought, Anthony Taylor.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was very good at all.
There's that.
Go on, sorry, Ruby.
No, there was that Awoniyi one right at the halfway line, completely a foul every
No.
single time. I was that is one of the most simple fouls you call, and that's never a question. Sometimes it's a yellow card, but it's always a foul. And there's a Ryan Yates one as well, shoving the back. It was just not good refereeing.
No, and to balance it out, there was one where Origi fouled Cher on the touchline as well. There was an obvious foul for them. So just to balance out, I thought he was really poor. Our commentator chief in the UK said, "Oh, he left his leg dangling and he waited for the contact." Like, no, he didn't. I didn't think at all. What was your take on that penalty incident?
I think he would have had an attempt on goal. It still would have been a difficult shot, but I think he would have gotten to that ball. I don't think he falls down without that last, like you said, Ruby, the raise of the arm to clip him. I think he gets to that ball. I don't know if he would have finished because the angle was tight and he's going at full speed, but that's a penalty. If you're obstructing the player from getting an attempt on goal in the box, like, you have to call that. And obviously, that changes the whole game. So I don't know how that's one of those things where it's like, you're right. They won't go against the ref, because if you look at that back slowly, that to me is as clear as it could be. So he definitely would not have gone to ground without that, at that moment, without the touch from the goalie, and that should be the difference.
Yeah, it's the kind of evolution of VAR that frustrates me. Like last season, they would have looked at that, and now they won't. Now you've got to do a lot to get a penalty now. Like that Dean Henderson one against Brentford, if you remember, where he taps the guy's shin, and it's virtually no contact at all. Yeah, and that was given. So there's just a horrible lack of consistency around VAR, and they need to address that, certainly. And one other thing for Anthony Taylor as well. Trippier, I don't think this was a penalty, but he handballed the ball on the edge of his box, but then he'd give a goal kick, and he's quite clearly handballed it. So that should have been that was a corner. It wasn't a penalty, but yeah, that was a frustration. But we can't just look at that too much anyway. What did you make of just the final 10, 15 minutes, Ruby? Are we able to create enough in these situations? Because it feels like we've been here a lot of times this season where we're chasing a game, and I'm struggling to think of too many times we worked Dubravka, if at all.
I will say I'm glad we were never up 2-0 and lost 3-2. I will say I'm glad that at least we were down and chasing the entire time. That for some reason, for some reason it feels like an improvement. I don't know why. But the last 15, they settled in. They brought in, I think it was Livramento who made it a back five, who came in, and we just couldn't get anything in the box. Like we talked about, they're a tall team, and we're not a team that has patience around the box like a City or Newcastle who'll wait to pass. We do like to get across in, but if we haven't got the height advantage, like Chris Wood isn't there to give Dan Burn a run for his ridiculous lankiness, we're not going to really put up a fight in the air. And I mean, Awoniyi's all right, but he came off. Obviously, he wasn't on for the last 15 minutes. So, Tavares, he had such a good game, but I was like, stop shooting. I saw somebody tweet something like, if Tavares could find a pass instead of Rosie, he'd be really good. I was like, yeah, fair enough. I thought he had one of his best games for us, but of that last 15, just find a pass, like find somebody who can chip it into the box, whatever, find somebody who can actually shoot. But it just kind of felt like we were panicking almost. There was no patience. It was like a free-for-all. We just need to get that last goal.
Tavares made my notes again, Chief. Because like Ruby says, like he does so much good work, and I can see why Nuno picks him. But I'm struggling to think of a player in the whole league with worse decision making than him. It's like, just think some of the time. What's your take on that whole left back battle?
Well, it's at both ends too. So it's like the last 15 yards of the pitch either way is where he gets into trouble with that decision making. But yeah, he looks like a freakish athlete, and you want some of that, but I think I'd still rather have Toffolo go Aina and Toffolo once Aina comes back, because at least you trust him. And then Toffolo is great with those balls into the box as well. That I think he has a higher floor. I don't know if that's an expression you guys have over there, but he has a lower ceiling than Tavares, but a higher floor. And I trust him more than I do Tavares at this point.
Yeah. True, that's fair. One other thing, if we start to look a bit big picture for the final stretch, Ruby, today, going into the match, we knew that Burnley had lost, Everton had lost, Luton had lost, Sheffield United had won, obviously, but I feel like they're a little bit out of it. Would it feel like a big opportunity to you going into kickoff?
Yeah, definitely. It felt massive, and I'm sure Nuno Gaffer Nuno stressed that going into the match. We have an opportunity to jump. I think we would have jumped 2 places if we had gotten the 3 points. So yeah, it's just huge. I mean, every single point, even if it was just a point, it's just really big right now. We can't rely on other teams losing, because I think we did that too much last season, relied on other teams losing to stay up. I don't want to be in that situation again. I want to be winning games and have our own fate in our own hands. And I think that's something that's missing right now, is we're too often relying on a Luton to lose, Burnley to lose. Everton obviously might get another points deduction, but we're praying that these teams lose rather than expecting ourselves to win, which is not a position anybody ever wants to be in.
True. Right, Chief, embrace the dark thoughts and see if we can get rid of them. Are you the comments are quite resigned tonight. Are you as resigned as they are now, or do you still see light?
I'm never as resigned as the comment section, doesn't matter what podcast it's on. But I will say that, yeah, like it's starting when you start to try to do the math, which I guess is kind of a fruitless exercise anyways. But you look at the next month and it's West Ham, Villa, Man United. Not exactly an easy run of game if you're trying to dig yourself out of a relegation fight. So yeah, I think it's the injuries. I'm hoping that the guys coming back from AFCON give this team a little bit of a boost. Everybody misses Mangala, but maybe it is Sangare as a guy who can come back in and make a difference and be the player he was supposed to be when they signed him for the record deal in the summer. So I'm hoping that there's enough. The cavalry is coming. And they'll be able to stay fit enough to get some results out of games that, like I said, those three right there. I don't know how many points you're expecting out of that, but if they can come out of that with 4, and then you just start to get some positivity and some discipline on your back end, and you have a good run in, and we're doing waka waka at the end of the year like we were last year. So that's kind of. But for right now, yeah, it's tough. It's going to be tough sledding, and hopefully I'm so scared of that points deduction, because if it is 10 points, then I think it's over. But if they can escape from that with a fine or a minimal deduction, then I do think they have a chance, because I think they're going to pump in goals. I think they're going to score goals against just about anybody. On that counterattack.
A couple of people in the comments, Ruby, before we come to you, are saying lack of leadership, lack of character, keep conceding 3 goals. Do you see that in this team when you watch them now quite a few times this season?
I don't know if I would say it's a lack of character, because rarely do I watch a game and I mean, it's not that it doesn't happen, but I'm like, every single player gave up. I don't necessarily see that too often. I do feel like most of the time we played to the end. And I don't know. I think Ryan Yates is a leader. I think he's been poorer than I would like in terms of playing recently. He gives away free kicks and just silly fouls way too often. But I do think he's a leader in that he cares about this club a lot, and you can tell that he cares about this club a lot. But I don't think it's lack of character as much as it is just silly mistakes. I do think we have character, and generally they do have heart, but I think it's more silly mistakes than it is anything.
What about the AFCON players, Ruby, as well? Are we pinning so much on Sangare, who's been, I don't think he's had a great tournament either when he's gone out there. Can he bring what we need to this side or not?
I don't know, because I think his biggest thing is breaking up play and kind of getting stuck in the middle, and I don't think that's our biggest issue. Again, our biggest issue is set pieces. We concede so often, and unless he can come in and just mark 3 players on his own, I don't think he's the answer to our issue, if you will. I would like to see him come back in and do well. I think that he is a good player, but I think that his last few games for us weren't fantastic, but I have seen good stuff from him, like the rest of the Forest base has. But I don't necessarily know if he's, we'll see, but I don't know if he's the answer to our problems.
True. Right. Paul has made a great point in the comments that I hadn't thought of. That horrific Diogo Jota penalty, where I don't even think he got touched against Newcastle. That was Anthony Taylor, and I've Googled it. It was just horrendous inconsistency of officiating. Terrible. Absolutely horrific. What about Sangare, Chief? We spent all this money on him. We expect a lot of him. Has he done enough for you yet? And do you see a player in there who can do enough to make us a much more, solid team? He
hasn't done anything for me, but it's just like you're hoping that the potential, that the reason he got they got him for all that money was that there's a player inside there, and we just haven't seen it. So I think you're right. Like, he hasn't done particularly well in AFCON either. But if you're looking for levers to pull to kind of get this thing turned around, maybe he's a guy, and maybe you feel more comfortable with Danilo in there, to pick the ball up and push it forward if Sangare is able to be your proper kind of CDM, just a destroyer back there. And then you have two guys who can play the ball. If people are frustrated with Yates' ability to play it forward, then maybe those two can do a better job as, the kind of two sitters, and then bomb it up to our fast guys up front and get them on the counter. It's hopes and prayers at this point. Sangare hasn't really shown anything to make you believe that. It's just like, let's hope.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff I like in the team. Like, I like the wingers. I like Gibbs White. I like Awoniyi when he's fit. Hopefully Sells is better. I just don't like our defense. I think Dominguez is really good. I'm starting to, people I've been won over this by the comment section saying this is why Willy Bolly has to play. Pat says it's just defending set pieces. Just as we wind down, Ruby, is that oversimplifying it or not, or is that just the crux of our problem?
I think it is, honestly, because we can score. Murillo is a fantastic defender. We do have individual talent. I think we have pretty good outside backs as well, and we have several options to put next to Murillo, but whether it's Bala Niakate or Omabamidele, we do have the options in there. We have the talent, but it's the defending. It's the checking your shoulder. It's making sure you stay on your man. So, I mean, of course, it's an oversimplification in general, but I think it kind of gets at like the core of what we need to solve.
Gary Birtles texted me during the match again, absolutely raging about our defending. So it's happened again.
Will he be on tomorrow?
No, it's Kelvin Wilson at this time. Okay. But Gary, it'll be Gary soon. I don't know if I can even read it.
I need like a live cam of Gary during games that he's not calling.
It's got the word embarrassing and it's got a swear word or two in there as well. Yeah,
see, that's what I need.
Probably sums it up. Right. Any final thoughts before we go, Chief, to give us inspiration and hope for the games ahead? Everyone's very down tonight, but any faith that you can instill in the fan base here?
Inspiration and hope. Well, look, you're only as good as your last game, and you're only, it's West Ham's up next, and it's at home. If they can just, work on these set pieces like we've been saying, you get 3 points there. And if you had 3 points today, I think they're up to 14. So it's when you're in this spot, in this everything feels like the end of the world. I think we'll wake up tomorrow, hopefully feeling a little bit better. And then, like we said, get Aina back in. Maybe Sangare gives you something. And if you can just stay healthy, if we can get 90 minutes out of Taiwo, I do think that this team is just a better team when he's on the field. I keep trying to, I don't want to have to say pitch. I don't say pitch here, I say field. So if we keep Taiwo on the field, it's going to be they're a much better team. And I think with that front four, they're going to score enough goals to stay up, so long as they can just tighten up a little bit. Like we said, one goal on set pieces per game instead of two, then we're fine.
True. I think, Adam, if this happens, Adam, if we lose another game 3-2, I think I'll knock it on the head here and go get another job, certainly. What about you, Ruby? Do you see, I don't know, you still got belief in the sense that I guess, Luton fans will wake up tomorrow gutted, Everton fans will be feeling the same. All these teams at the bottom are frankly not very good, and we've got our own problems as well. Does that give you hope that we can, turn it around if we had some quality in the final few months?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not. I like to think I'm a glass half full type of person. I do think we can stay up. We have the quality to stay up. So I haven't lost hope in the slightest, whether we get a point deduction or not. But yeah, I'm definitely still hopeful. And I think if we can kind of just fit the puzzle pieces together properly, I want to say that I'm not scared. I like to think that I'm not frightened.
Yeah, I would take our team, our talent over anybody that's behind us. It's just like, can they come together as a unit? But they have enough talent to stay up.
I thought Everton did okay, honestly, against Man City. I was a little surprised. I thought they more got unlucky than anything. I do think they're pretty decent side, but again, they're probably going to get a points deduction as well. So that's not my problem.
They got Holland.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I watched that game. If we had Everton's kind of resolve and willingness to dig in, I think we would have got something today. But I don't know. Maybe I'm being too
James Garner.
He was decent again. Yeah, he was good, and Tarkovsky was really good. We don't have a Tarkovsky. I think is we don't have a proper, well, I guess, a leader at the back, someone who will win crappy fouls and put his body in the right place and see the ball out. I think we need that alongside Murillo, which might be Bolly, I don't know. Or it might be... Omar was really good against Bournemouth. I sat here lauding our defensive options with Fletch for 15 minutes last Monday, so I can't turn my back on them, but it's frustrating to keep seeing this keep happening time and again, this 3-2 thing and this rubbish goal thing, certainly. Right, thanks for everyone who's joined us. Very much appreciate your company, 250 or so with us after a pretty depressing defeat, frankly. Well, as you guys know, we always have any other business, so I'll open the floor up just quickly. Anything you want to plug? Any final words, Ruby?
Yeah, I saw somebody say, what type of accent is that? And then somebody responded, a sad forest accent. And I think that's one of the funniest things anybody has ever said about the way that I talk.
Talking about you or me?
I'm assuming. But I was like, either way. I was like, that was good. That was pretty good.
Any other business, Chief?
No, I think I'm fine. Just want to say thanks again for having me. I've been a big fan of the show for years now. So this will probably be the one episode I don't watch because I don't like to watch things that I'm on. But yeah, I had a great time talking to you guys.
You're a good man. You're a good man. Right. If you've enjoyed this, do us a favor, as ever. Hit like, hit subscribe, give us a good review on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere else where you watch or listen to this podcast. Very much appreciate the support. Last one from me, just quickly. Hopefully, Forest women give us a better finish to the weekend. They play Everton tomorrow in the FA Cup 5th round. Kick-off 4:00 at Grange Park, which is the home of Long Eaton United. So go down there and support them to what would be a big upset in the Cup. Everton are one of the mainstays of WSL, and we are in the 3rd tier, I think. So, yeah, support them if you can. Right. Chief, thank you very much.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Ruby, that was your hat-trick appearance, so good to have you back. Thank you.
Fabulous to be back, as always.
Well, yeah, hopefully next time either of you guys are on, we're talking about a win. But for now, like I say, thanks for your company. We're back on Monday, 12 p.m. Kelvin Wilson, Greg Mitchell, and Temps, I think, is the panel. And then
we should have had Greg in to give the inspirational talk.
He did say, if we win, I'll join live from the pub. But since we lost, I thought we'll probably leave it and catch up with him on Monday. Yeah. So do join us through the week. Thanks for your company, as ever. And we shall see you soon.